Hi everybody. What would Jesus do? That's the question today. That was a real catchy cliche back in the 90s. Lots of people used that term. There's books written about it. There was t-shirts printed that said it. Anyway, that's my question today is what would Jesus do? It's pretty important in life to think about that. I heard two really neat stories this week of people that had things happen to them. One couple I know was having lunch at a restaurant, and there was this couple sitting next to them that had a toddler, and the toddler was being sort of bad, throwing food, and just making a big mess. When the young couple got up and left, a fella sitting not far away told the waitress to come over, and he gave her a $20 tip to clean up that mess that the other people had made. I love those kind of stories. The other story I had to tell you that was a lady I know that saw somebody in a wheelchair, a lady in a wheelchair trying to get in a bathroom door, a big heavy door. So she ran over and got the door for her. But then she stayed there and waited until the lady was done, and so she could get the door for her when she come back out. That's what Jesus would do. There's a super cool story in the Bible too about some religious leaders that captured this woman and brought her to the midst of wherever it was they were hanging out with Jesus. Everybody was sitting around in a circle, it sounded like, and they put this lady in the middle of them. And can you not imagine how horrified she must have been? Got caught in the middle of adultery, and then that's what they said anyway. And this was back in the time when they stunned people for that sort of thing. It'd be bad enough if it happened today, but she must have been horribly humiliated. And they told Jesus, they said, now, what would you do? What are you going to do with her? We caught her in adultery. Jesus kind of almost pretended like he wasn't listening to him. And he says he knelt down and he wrote on the ground. I don't know what he wrote. It'd be interesting to know. Maybe he wrote their names, everybody in the circle. Maybe he wrote some sins down that he already knew about that they had been committing. Maybe he wrote their names with the sin behind it that he knew about. It's all stuff we don't know. We can just get to wonder about. But after a while, he said, if anybody's here that is without sin, let him cast the first stone. All of a sudden, these guys, they started getting all nervous. One of them, I suppose he looked at his watch and decided I got to get home for supper. It's getting late. Another one thought about something else he had to quick go do. He had to go meet somebody, and one at a time, they suddenly thought of things they needed to be doing somewhere else, and pretty soon he looked up, and there she was all by herself. He said, so where's your accusers? He already knew, of course. He's Jesus. And she said, well, they've all left. And I'm just making part of this up because I know Jesus, and I know what he did in other occasions. I know his heart was moved with compassion, even though it doesn't say it right there. It says it plenty of other places. And I'm guessing he probably smiled at her and said, well, in that case, I guess I'm not going to condemn you either. But go and sin no more. That's what he said. So, what would Jesus do when you face situations this week? Think about that. It's usually pretty obvious if we really think it through. Thanks for listening.